Imagine a man in a suit carrying nothing but a briefcase, walking onto a plane like it's just another day. A few hours later, he jumps out of that plane into a stormy night sky and is never seen again. No body was ever found. No name was ever confirmed. And the money he took with him? Only a tiny fraction of it ever turned up. This isn't fiction. This is the only unsolved commercial airline hijacking in US history. But before we get into it, I want to leave you with 3 questions. I'll answer all 3 at the very end of this video. Number 1, how could this man have possibly survived, jumping out of a plane in the middle of a violent storm? Number 2, years later, a young boy found a pile of cash buried on a riverbank. Where did that money actually come from and what does it tell us? And number 3, why did the FBI, after 45 years of relentless investigation, suddenly shut the case down? Stick around till the end, because some of the details coming up are things most videos on this topic never even mention. Let's get into it. It's November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving. A man walks up to the Northwest Orient Airlines counter at Portland International Airport. He looks to be in his mid-40s, around 6 feet tall, dressed in a dark suit with a black tie and white shirt. He pays cash, just $20 for a one-way ticket. He gives his name as Dan Cooper. Here's something important to understand. Airport security in 1971 was almost non-existent. No metal detectors, no ID checks, nothing. Boarding a plane back then was about as easy as getting on a city bus. Cooper knew this. It's exactly why his plan worked as smoothly as it did. The flight was Northwest Orient 305, headed from Portland to Seattle. Cooper took a seat near the back, calmly ordered a bourbon and soda, and once the plane was in the air, he passed a note to a flight attendant. The note read in short, he had a bomb in his briefcase. At first, the flight attendant thought he might just be a passenger flirting with her. But when she glanced inside the briefcase and saw wires and cylindrical shapes, she realized this was very real. Cooper's demands were simple: $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes. But here's a detail that reveals just how calculated he was before he ever boarded. He'd made sure the aircraft would be a Boeing 727. Why does that matter? Because the 727 has a unique rear staircase built into its tail, one that can actually be lowered mid-flight. Most commercial aircraft don't have this feature. Cooper hadn't just planned a hijacking. He'd planned an exact escape route down to the model of plane. The plane landed in Seattle. All 36 passengers and the cabin crew were released, and the cash and parachutes were delivered as demanded. Cooper then ordered the pilots to take off again toward Mexico City, but at low altitude and at reduced speed. This is where the story becomes one of the strangest mysteries in American history. It was nighttime. The weather was brutal, heavy rain and violent winds battering the aircraft. Somewhere over the dense forests of Washington state, Cooper lowered that rear staircase and jumped, with $200,000 strapped to his body and a single parachute on his back. And after that moment, nobody knows what happened. Fighter jets had been trailing the plane, but none of the pilots actually saw him jump. The FBI launched a massive ground search, almost immediately, combing through forests, mountains and rivers, but there was no body, no parachute, and no trace of Cooper anywhere. The FBI gave this investigation a code name, Norjack, and it would continue in one form or another for the next 45 years. Now here's where things get genuinely interesting. Detail's most retellings skip right past. Cooper left behind only 2 physical items: a clip-on tie worth just $149 and 8 cigarette butts. The FBI preserved both as forensic evidence, and remarkably, they're still sitting in government custody to this day. In 2016, the FBI quietly declassified a batch of files revealing that Cooper had actually taken one of the parachutes apart and inspected it closely before the jump. The kind of behavior you'd expect from someone with real experience, not a random criminal off the street. It's one of the strongest clues suggesting Cooper may have had a military or paratrooper background. Over the years, the FBI investigated more than 800 suspects. The most notable was Richard Floyd McCoy Jr., who pulled off an almost identical hijacking just months later. In 1972, same method, same type of demand. He was eventually caught. But the FBI could never confirm whether he was the original Cooper or simply a copycat inspired by the case. And now the part of this story that makes it even stranger. In 1980, 9 full years after the hijacking, a young boy was playing along the banks of the Columbia River when he stumbled onto 3 decaying bundles of cash. The serial numbers matched exactly with the ransom money given to Cooper, but it was only $5,800, a tiny sliver of the original $200,000. And here's the strange part. One of those bundles was missing exactly 10 bills, while the rest remained perfectly sealed, untouched. This discovery opened up two competing theories. Either Cooper died during the jump and the current swept the money downriver over the years, or he survived, and for some reason buried part of the cash himself. To this day, nobody has definitively answered which one is true. Here's something that might surprise you. Public sympathy in this case has always leaned toward the hijacker, not against him. Why? Because Cooper never hurt a single person. He targeted an airline that many people at the time already viewed as arrogant and overpriced. In the public imagination, he became something closer to a folk hero, a Robin Hood figure who outsmarted the system without leaving a scratch on anyone. That's exactly why, more than 5 decades later, books, documentaries, and films are still being made about him, and why every few years, some new lead resurfaces and reignites the entire mystery all over again. Now, let's go back to those 3 questions I asked at the start. Question 1. Could Cooper have actually survived the jump? The FBI's official theory leans toward probably not. The storm was severe, wind speeds were extreme, and the type of parachute he used wasn't even steerable. But since no body was ever recovered, this remains a theory, not a fact. Question 2. How did that money end up on the riverbank? There's no confirmed answer. It's possible the river current carried it there over years from wherever Cooper landed, or there's some other explanation we may never uncover. Question 3. Why did the FBI shut the case down in 2016? Not because they solved it. After 45 years without a single solid new lead, the Bureau officially redirected its resources to other priorities, which means even today, this case is just as mysterious as it was back in 1971. So that's the story of the man who hijacked a plane, jumped into a storm with $200,000 strapped to his chest, and vanished from the face of the earth. To this day, no one knows who he really was, where he ended up, or whether he's even alive. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe because more mysterious, unsolved stories like this one are on the way. And let me know in the comments, do you think DB Cooper survived or not? See you in the next one.